Thank you all for joining our Alert Origination Software presentation demonstration. I'm going to start with some administrative notes before we begin. We all have successfully joined the webinar, so I'll just, if you have questions after today's demonstration or during today's demonstration, you can put them in the Q&A box listed to the right of your screen. If you would like copies of today's presentation, you can make a request at justin.singer@fema.dhs.gov with the subject line as webinar presentation request. I'm going to read this disclaimer. The Integrated Public Alert and Warning System, IPAWS, vendor demonstrations are intended to increase state and local emergency management agencies' awareness of vendor products and IPAWS capabilities. The webinar provides an overview of the interoperability of these systems with IPAWS Open and will include vendor presentations of their products. FEMA's IPAWS Program Management Office encourages and facilitates this discussion of products and tools, but it does not endorse any specific vendor's products. This webinar is for educational purposes only. Today's demonstration will be with Javari by WebEOC. For any vendor-specific questions, you can email Priscilla Cotton or Brian Hovde at the email addresses listed there. And without further ado, Brian, I'm going to make you the presenter and allow you to start sharing your screen.
Great, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Excited to have the opportunity to present with you all today. Get my screen shared here. Just very quickly introduce myself and the company. Many of you know Javari probably in the emergency management space for our WebEOC product, fairly well known throughout the industry. So we're excited today to show you the IPAWS capability that exists within the WebEOC product. Just briefly about myself, as was mentioned, my name is Brian Hovde. I'm a client success manager working in the state and local government sector of Javari. I cover our clients in FEMA's regions 9 and 10. I came to Javari in April of just this year, but prior to that, spent about 20 years working professionally in emergency management and emergency services in Williamson County, Tennessee, Seattle, Washington, and Orange County, California. So most of my professional experience has been working with crisis information management systems and alert and warning programs, which is why I'm very excited to be talking with you today. Just very quickly about Javari, for those of you that don't know, we build our business around 3 core values, which is to be client-focused, courageous, and curious. And these 3 core values continue to drive our innovation and the products that we deliver. Recently, towards the beginning of this year, we launched our new WebEOC 9 platform. For those of you that may have not seen WebEOC in a while, a lot of really exciting things happening in WebEOC 9 that make the product very different from what you've seen in the past. So with that, what we're going to dive into today is taking a look at our IPAWS plugin, which allows you to generate IPAWS messages from within the WebEOC product itself. We'll briefly go over how to load your certificates into the system. We're going to create and transmit an EAS message, and I'll demonstrate the ability to create WIA messages within the system as well. So with that said, we'll just pop over to the live environment. And for those of you that are familiar with WebEOC, this should look pretty familiar to all of you. For those of you that don't, this is the splash screen that you get after logging into our system. The concept of within WebEOC is that we collect and display information around boards, right? And the board concept comes from emergency operations centers where information used to be collected and displayed up on whiteboards, chalkboards. The WebEOC product collects and displays information on boards within our software system. So we do offer a IPAWS messaging plugin. The IPAWS messaging plugin can be administratively controlled just like all of the other boards, and you can assign the use of that based on group permissions. So it's not something that is available to everybody, you can assign it out and make it available as is appropriate within the system. So we open up the IPAWS messaging plugin. We'll see our ability to craft and generate messages here. Before we dive too deeply into the actual message creation, I do want to show you the administrator side of the software. In your admin console, under your plugins, will have access to the configuration of the IPAWS messaging plugin. One thing that I do want to clarify here and make you all aware of is that within the WebEOC product, we do have some paid add-ons that provide additional functionality to our system. The IPAWS messaging plugin is a free plugin. So if you already are a WebEOC user on any of our platforms, whether it's core, professional, or enterprise, you have the ability to install this IPAWS messaging plugin at no additional cost. And so there's a lot of added value here. A lot of organizations are using this as their primary way into WebEOC. Some of our jurisdictions have, into IPAWS, and some of our jurisdictions have other software that they may be using for alert and warning purposes, but they also bring the IPAWS messaging plugin into WebEOC to provide a redundant path in case the primary software that they use is unavailable when they need it. They do have a redundant way to connect to IPAWS. So just something to keep in mind if you're already using WebEOC, there's really no reason to not install this plugin on your system. Again, it's free for your use. It's available for our customers in the Download Center. You can always reach out to your Client Success Manager and they can support you through getting that installed on the system. If you're not a customer and would be interested in becoming one, we'd of course be happy to hear from you. So here on the administrator side, we have the ability to load up your certificates. So once you are authorized alerting authority and you receive your COG certificate, you can upload your certificate into both the demonstration and production modes. So you can toggle between the two. And then once you're connected with them, you can upload your certificate. And so this would be uploading a certificate for the demo environment. Here you put in the COG ID, enter your key store, your key, your logon user, and then attach the JKS file that FEMA provides you. So pretty straightforward process to get your certificate uploaded. Once the certificate is uploaded, you do have the ability to test that connection. It takes just a minute here for it to ping the IPAWS server and return the information back. So we'll see that we have our demonstration certificate loaded. Here's our COG ID. Here's who we are, listed as a civil authority, and then all of the areas that we're authorized to alert within. The event codes that we have authorized for our COG. You can test that connection at any time by testing the connection here. You'll get a response from the system that we're actively connected in with IPAWS. So we'll pop back over to the actual user interface where we would actually craft and generate the message. You'll notice it looks pretty similar to an email client. We have an inbox, a sent mail, and a trash. We have the ability to query IPAWS to receive any COG messages that might have been sent directly to us. Those would appear in our inbox. And then we take a little bit of a different approach when it comes to crafting the message than maybe some others, is that we craft the message based upon the channel that we're going to distribute to. So you can either craft a message that can be distributed to other COGs, you can craft a wireless emergency alert message, or you can craft a message that would be posted to the emergency alert system, or finally to NWEM. I'm going to start with posting a message into the emergency alert system today because we've got the video set up and you'll be able to see the message come through and how it displays on the actual receiving equipment once it's been processed by the NDAC. So pretty straightforward, obviously based all around CAP, but just like any of the other products. So to fill this out is fairly straightforward in selecting the appropriate criteria for the alert that you're sending. Today we'll go ahead and send a civil emergency message. Even when testing, I always prefer to make it clear that this is a test. Make sure to have the expiration time set. And I'm going to go ahead, you can see we're authorized for a few counties as well as the entire state of Georgia. I'm going to go ahead and send the message to the state of Georgia today. I have no response time. This is a test. This is where I put in my EAS message and my instructions that will be interpreted by the NDEC and displayed and read across the live system. So once I've crafted the message, I can go ahead and preview it. It's going to validate my message to make sure that the content of my message is correct and accurate. And then I can go ahead and simply post the message, which will submit it off to IPAWS to be distributed through the emergency alert system channel. The other thing I'll point out here is we are clearly in demonstration mode, as it says in the upper right corner. So on the our sent mail, we can see that this was successfully delivered. Over on the message viewer that's provided by FEMA, a great tool for reviewing your messages, we can see that that message did get distributed through the emergency alert system, and I would assume that on the FEMA side, we should be seeing that message come through.
Yep, that's your message on the TV, the video crawl, and as well, that's the audio that you hear. So, perfect. Confirmation on the side.
Excellent. We've had success. So let that play for just a second. Okay, so we've successfully gone ahead and sent the emergency alert system message through. The one other thing I want to go ahead and point out to you all is how we can post a wireless emergency alert. So just the same as we crafted that emergency alert system message, we can also go into the system and craft a wireless emergency alert. So same criteria, we go ahead and complete the required fields. We can indicate where we want to distribute this message to. We do have the ability here to also include these messages to another cog. On the administrator side, you'll see I just have a couple counties here selected. But on the administrator side of the system, I can include additional cogs that you may want your users to be able to distribute messages to. So if there are neighboring entities that you want to make sure are included when you distribute these messages, you can include these cogs for your users. It's as simple as going in and reviewing all of the available cogs, adding them to your list, and then that gives your users the ability to also notify neighboring jurisdictions when things like a wireless emergency alert is sent out. So we're going to go ahead and craft a wireless emergency alert. We'll also send it to one of our neighboring jurisdictions. We make the same appropriate selections, civil emergency message. Again, we can select the entire state if that's where we wanted to distribute to. And then we also have the ability, of course, with wireless emergency alerts to include a polygon. So, you know, if the need be, you know, that you need to target an area more closely, of course, you can zoom this map in much closer than it is. But right, very simply added a polygon to be included as part of the notification as well, the response type, and then of course we provide the capability within the WEA standard to include both English and Spanish messages, both the short 90-character version, which is required, as well as the longer 360-character version, which is optional but certainly recommended anytime that you're sending out a wireless emergency alert, so that folks with capable devices can receive the longer version of the message. So again, these are pretty straightforward. I'm going to go ahead and just complete this very quickly. So short message, just for the sake of simplicity. Long message. We can go ahead and preview, make sure that it's validated correctly. Everything looks good. We do have the polygon included. And we'll go ahead and post that in as a wireless emergency alert. So if we pop over on the alert viewer here, I know we don't have any equipment over on the FEMA side to demonstrate that message. We should be able to update and refresh here and see our wireless emergency alert, as well as with some confirmation that what that message would look like in the WEA environment. So a pretty straightforward user interface that we have here. Again, crafted much like an email client, pretty straightforward for all of your users. You administratively can control the access to this system, just as you would within any other WebEOC board by using group permissions. So you can define which of your users have access to this system. So that only people that are actually authorized to send the messages are able to. And then you just choose the distribution channels that you're choosing to send messages through. Click the button, craft the message, preview it, and away it goes. Again, there's some other just basic functionality in here is that you can, mark all of your messages as read. You can move them all off to the trash. You can certainly empty your trash bin. So, just very, very clean, very familiar functionality for most of your users in a straightforward way for folks to be able to get messages sent into IPAWS. So as I mentioned, this is a free plugin available to all WebEOC users, no matter of the level of platform that you're using, if there are core, professional, or enterprise. And all of this is available to you at no cost as a WebEOC user. So if you are currently a WebEOC customer and want to add this to your system, reach out to your client success manager. We'd be happy to help you get this installed on your system. And if you're not a WebEOC customer, know that should you choose to become one, we'd be happy to help you with that. But know that IPAWS messaging is a capability that is baked into the software and available to you at no extra cost. And so with that, that's the basics of what I have to show you here today, and would be happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you so much, Brian, for your demonstration. We do have a couple of questions in the Q&A box. The first one is, what were we? I think this might be more directed towards us. Are wireless alerts strictly for smart devices, cell phones? And the answer to that would be yes. It's only for cell phones. And for you, Brian, can shapefiles be uploaded to the map, or can custom base layers be added?
So at this time, within the IPAWS plugin, we don't have the ability to add custom shapefiles that can be loaded, kind of on demand. We do have that capability in some of our other mapping products, but not on the IPAWS side yet. Certainly, this is something that we would be looking at from an enhancement perspective, but not currently at this time. They're drawn on the fly.
All right, and the next question, is there any way to send the message out to WEA and EAS at the same time?
No, so the approach that we took was based on a per channel distribution. So the way that the product is written currently, it's based on those green buttons up at the top in the upper right corner. So when you craft the message, you're basing it on a per channel distribution. So I would be crafting a WEA message or an EAS message, but not the two together.
Okay, and another question. What is the process for an end user, not an admin, to switch between test and live?
So that's a decision that's made on the administrator side. So we don't allow for, it can be done through the group permissions and the boards that are assigned out, but it is an administrator decision to make available either a live version of the plugin or a demonstration version of the plugin. And so what you would see, is in your drop-down menu, when you're making a selection, you would see either live or demonstration, depending upon how your administrator partitioned it out. So if you needed to send your monthly testing, you would select the test version. You would see demonstration mode up in the corner and be able to send your message. So it's done by the administrator, but is accessible to the user.
Okay, thank you. And another one, is there an ATO or other support and documentation to assist in putting in our state network? Are you familiar with that, Brian?
I would have to say I'm a little bit confused by the question. We certainly have documentation available for our plugin that would support you through uploading your certificate. And you're, as again, like I said, I'm slightly confused by the question, but generally, what you're authorized for and granted by FEMA, your certificate will show us on the administrator side what you're authorized for. So our demonstration certificate is authorized for these types of alerts in these geographic areas. And so the system certainly allows you to view and validate what you're authorized for, but I'm not entirely sure that if that was the question.
Yeah,
I apologize.
Victor, if that answers your question, you can let us know in the chat. And I think we just have one more question, Brian. Can you build templates and pre-designed polygons to be saved?
No, so just kind of like what we talked about with uploading shape files before, right? The focus on the product here was, kind of simplicity and ease of use. So there's not the ability to either upload or save polygons to be used for later, and there's not a templating capability currently built into the system. It's all designed to be crafted on the fly.
All right, that's all of our questions, and I did get confirmation, Brian, you did answer that one question correctly. So,
all right, perfect.
That's all of the questions that we have in our chat box. I'll just post your information, you and Priscilla's contact information. If you have any more vendor-specific questions, you can ask them directly to Priscilla and Brian. And this is going to conclude our demonstration for today. Thank you all for joining, and have a good day.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks, Priscilla.